we're going to be looking at a manufacturing cost statement, which you did at undergraduate. So the whole of tonight's lecture is actually a revision of what you've already done at undergraduate. So there are no new concepts at all. Okay, so what we want to do is we're going to also be working with concepts like prime costs and period costs, so that you get used to using those. And we're going to be calculating the cost of finished goods for a manufacturing entity using a manufacturing cost statement. And we're going to be also looking at the cost per unit for a contract or for a period. And we're also going to be calculating the cost of sales. The last little entry is asking for a cost of sales. So very straightforward, nothing that you haven't actually already done before. So it's just a case of making sure you understand how to do this. Every single test one has a manufacturing cost statement in it. It's not often that you would get one in the exam because it's very, very easy marks. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so this is your format for your production cost statement, for your manufacturing cost statement. We take the direct materials and the direct labor, those are the direct costs. We call them the prime costs, we add them together. We then calculate the factory overheads, add it to that, and we get the total manufacturing cost. But do you remember at the beginning of the semester I said to you that inventory in a company is made up of raw materials, work in progress, and finished goods. Do you remember that? And we know that when we looked at the inventory module to calculate the closing balance of inventory, we take the opening balance plus the purchases minus the closing balance to get the cost of sales. Okay? So here we want to calculate the cost of manufacture. So it's not the cost of sale, it's the cost of manufacture. So we're taking our manufacturing costs and then we're saying that the cost of manufacture is the opening balance plus the costs of manufacture minus the closing balance to give you the cost of manufacture of finished goods. So we're applying the same concept as we did for cost of sales in order to calculate the cost of manufacture of finished goods. And we're taking the materials that we take from raw materials into production. So the minute we take them into production, they become part of work in progress, and we want to work out what our cost of manufacture is using our opening balance of work in progress plus whatever we have used to make our work in progress minus our closing balance of work in progress. Gives us our cost of manufacture of finished goods. So that's the point behind this production statement, manufacturing cost statement. Right. So we're going to do 4 examples because this is a revision class. So we're going to prepare the manufacturing cost statement using the information that we've got here. And you've got the example on your handout, and then next to it you'll see that I've put the structure, direct materials, direct labor, prime costs, and factory overheads. Next to it there are 2 columns. The idea is that in the right hand column you put down the amounts, and in the middle column if there's a calculation you can put the calculation in. Okay. Because we will get onto calculations. This one just has 2 very, very small calculations. Okay, so you're going to take this manufacturing cost statement and you're going to use this information here, and you're going to calculate the cost of manufacture of finished goods. Your work in progress opening balance and closing balance is 0 for this example because there's no opening or closing stock of work in progress. Then you have to calculate your factory overhead. So what was the trick in this one? Was there a trick?
No admin and secretarial wages.
Ooh, admin and secretarial are not factory overheads, okay? So you must not put the admin and secretarial in. So your total manufacturing overheads are 69,500. With me. What? We're just doing unit 1. You know the manufacturing cost statement you did at undergrad? This is what we're doing tonight. So this is the structure of the manufacturing cost statement. This is the question. Okay, so you're taking the direct materials, you're putting it in, direct labor, you're putting it in, you're adding the two together to get the prime cost, and then you're calculating the manufacturing overheads, but you're remembering not to put in the admin and secretarial wages because they are not manufacturing costs. What are those costs called? Do you remember?
Yes, period costs.
Period costs. Because they fall over the whole period, over the whole year. Right, so then you get a cost of manufacture of finished goods of 959,500. Did you get that?
Yes.
Any questions? Very straightforward. Okay, we look at the question. The question says there was no opening or closing work in progress, okay? Remember that inventory in a manufacturing entity consists of three things. What are those three things? Do you remember? Raw materials, work in progress, and finished goods. So we're looking at all three of them. Okay, so this is the cost of manufacture of finished goods. Okay, so that's the goods that have been sent to ready for production, ready for sale. Okay. So we've done this lecture example now. We're going to do another lecture example now. In this case, we have opening inventory and closing inventory. We have opening inventory of direct materials and raw materials are the same thing. Okay? When the raw materials become part of production, they become direct materials. So these are the raw materials that have been issued. No, this is the opening inventory of raw materials. Okay? We have to calculate the raw materials issued to production. This is the closing inventory of raw materials. And this is the purchase of direct materials, and this is the purchase of indirect materials. So now you can see this is a slightly more complicated one, right? So we have to do exactly the same thing we did earlier, all right? We have to calculate the direct materials in the same way as we calculate the cost of sales. So we're going to take opening balance direct materials plus direct materials purchased minus closing balance of direct materials is direct materials issued to production. Okay, we want to know how much of the raw material has gone into production. Once it's in production, it's part of work in progress. Okay, so the first thing you have to do in this question is calculate the raw materials, the direct materials that you're going to put in the first line. It must be the direct materials that have been issued to production. How do you know how much have been issued to production? It's the opening balance plus the purchases minus the closing balance of direct materials. Okay? Then you've got a work in progress opening balance and a work in progress closing balance. So you need to put those into your manufacturing cost statement. And once again, you've got to calculate your direct labor and your manufacturing overheads. So this is lecture example 2. We're going to fill it in over here. The calculation, so you're going to fill the numbers in on the right hand side, and in the middle when you've got calculations, you're going to do the calculations in the middle. So direct materials is going to be a calculation. You need to calculate that amount. Direct labor has been given to you. Opening balance plus your purchases minus your closing balance minus the amount you return. So the amount that you have issued to production is 474,540. Okay? And then you need to calculate your prime cost. So you just add your direct labor. And now we need to calculate the factory overheads, which was very straightforward. Indirect labor, indirect materials, factory rent, supervisor salary, and protective clothing. Yes. Did you have indirect materials there?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Indirect materials. 10990. Okay. Did you all remember to add the indirect materials in?
Yes.
253,800 right? So then you get your total manufacturing cost of 851,340. Then you're going to add your opening balance of work in progress and subtract your closing balance of work in progress to get your cost of manufacture of finished goods at 861,114. Did anyone get that?
Yes,
Yes. Oh, brilliant. Great. Okay, I'll just put the total in, then you know that that's the amount you have to get to, 860. If you didn't get it, just write underneath 861,140, and then you can work out where you went wrong. Everyone okay with that?
The supervisor's salary.
Yeah, so it's the factory supervisor, so they're working in the factory, and sometimes the factory supervisor's salary will be split between different products, but this one didn't say anything, it's just the cost of manufacture of all the goods. So you're going to put the whole supervisor's salary in, okay?
In the overheads.
The supervisor's salary is a manufacturing overhead.
If his salary has been split in half.
Split, then they'll tell you, it'll say that it's split 50-50 or 60-40 or whatever.
Factory.
Yeah. You are producing 3,500 identical units, and at the end I ask you to also calculate the unit cost of production. So you're going to prepare the manufacturing cost statement, but there's also an amount of electricity unpaid at the end of the period that relates to the factory. So you're going to need to add this electricity into your costs. You've been given a whole list of costs, okay? There's the factory electricity of 45,360. So you need to add the unpaid 3,560 to it as well, okay? Because we're accruing for it because it related to the period of manufacture. So we're going to do it on that basis. Okay, so you're going to work with these figures here. Now you've got opening balances for raw materials, work in progress, finished goods, and factory consumable stores. So you're going to have to do calculations for all of those. So your raw materials, here you've also got a raw materials return to supplier. You need to also calculate your consumables that you've used in the factory. That would be if it's a denim, a factory making denim handbags, it would be the cotton and the oil and maybe cloths and that sort of, so that's what the consumables would be. Things that get used everywhere that aren't necessarily direct materials, they're consumables. Okay. So consumables and indirect material, similar thing. Okay, so this is part of your overheads, consumable. So let's see if you can do that now. You're required to do two things, the manufacturing cost statement and the unit cost of production at the end of the period. So once you've got your total cost of manufacture of finished goods, you're going to divide it by your 3,500 units. What you have to do is calculate the direct materials. So we're going to take the opening balance of direct materials plus the purchase of raw materials plus the carriage on raw materials purchased minus the raw materials returned to supplier minus the closing balance of raw materials. Okay, so the opening balance plus the purchases plus the carriage minus the purchase returns minus the closing balance will give us the issue to production of 887,080. Did you get that? Yes. Brilliant. Fantastic. Okay. And then the direct wages was given to you of 398,000. So you get your total prime cost of 1,285,080 rand.
Yes. Yes. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. And then you have to calculate your factory overheads. So you had to add the 3,560 to the electricity. Did you remember to do that?
Yes.
And then you have to add in the opening balance of your consumables plus your purchases minus your closing balance. I don't think there was anything here you had to, oh, the depreciation on office equipment you had to not put in,
Yes.
but the depreciation on factory equipment you had to put in. So you must include depreciation on the factory equipment because you used that equipment to make the denim bags, but you will not include the office depreciation on office equipment because that has not been involved in the manufacture of the goods. 402,670. Anyone get that amount?
Yes.
Great. Can I go to the next slide now? Okay. So now you get a total manufacturing cost of 1,687,750. You add the work in progress at the beginning of the year, subtract the work in progress at the end of the year, and your cost of manufacture of finished goods is 1,677,540. Now what about the opening stock and the opening balance and the closing balance of finished goods? This is the cost of manufacture of finished goods, okay? We don't need to take into account the opening and closing balance of finished goods to calculate this. This question asked you to do two things. One, the cost of manufacture of finished goods, and the other was the cost per unit. So you now have to take this 1,677,540 divided by 3,500 units to get your cost per unit of 479 Rand 30 per unit. Okay? That's your cost of manufacture of your finished goods. The next question, question 4, asks you to calculate your cost of sales, and to do that, you're going to use your opening balance of finished goods, plus your cost of manufacture of finished goods, minus your closing balance of finished goods. So that's the last step in the process, and then from then, you could be asked to calculate a selling price at a markup of this, or all sorts of things. So you've got to prepare the manufacturing cost statement, then you've got to calculate the unit's cost of production, and then you need to calculate the cost of sales. And you could take it further, you could then have to calculate the selling price or whatever. Okay. So for this one, you are going to use your opening and closing balance of finished goods to calculate your cost of sales. Okay. So those are your opening balances, those are your purchases, various salaries and wages. Some you will include, some you won't. So the trick in this is to know what to include, what not to include, okay, and what goes where. So we're first going to calculate direct materials. To calculate the direct materials, we're going to take the opening balance of 66,000 plus the purchases of 880. There's no return to suppliers or anything else I can see. So minus the closing balance of 43,000, right? So you're going to get direct materials of 903,000. The direct labor is just the wages, not the supervisor. The supervisor is an overhead. So your prime costs are 1,343,000. Then this question was a lot about if you knew what to include and not to include as a manufacturing overhead. Don't forget, we're not going to include any of the period costs in the manufacturing overhead. So the costs we're not going to include would be, we're not going to include the salaries of salespeople because that's nothing to do with the manufacturing, and we're not going to include the salaries of the admin staff or the management, and we are not going to include the depreciation on the office equipment, but we are going to include the depreciation on the factory equipment. And then we also need to calculate the consumable stores, which will be the opening balance of 4,400 plus the 6,200 minus the 4,000, and that is also part of our manufacturing overhead. Okay, so this is our total manufacturing overhead. The rest, the supervisor salary, the depreciation for the factory only, the factory electricity only, the consumables, plus the indirect materials gives us 560,200. Okay? We add that into our manufacturing cost statement, get a total manufacturing cost of 1,903,200. We're going to add in, are we all nearly there? We're going to add in our opening balance at the beginning of the period and our closing balance at the end of the period, we get 1,921,000. Anyone get that?
Yes.
Quite a few. Fantastic. Great. Okay, now we need to work out the second question is the unit cost of production. So we made 100,000, so we can see what the price is going to be already. Okay? 100,000, so 1,921,000 divided by 100,000 gives us a unit cost of production of 19 Rand 21. Full marks. Next thing we have to do, last thing we have to do, is the cost of sales. Opening balance of finished goods plus the cost of manufacture of finished goods minus the closing balance of finished goods. So there's your opening balance of finished goods, 120,000, your cost of manufacture of finished goods minus your closing balance. So your cost of sales for the period is 1,887,000 Rand.